welcome to a pretty special episode of La Ventanita. I'm Carlos Frias, the Miami Herald food editor, joined every week by my co-host, Amy
Reyes.
Whoop, whoop, give it up for Amy.
Live from Kendall.
Yes, so we had to record this special episode, but you still had a packed weekend where you were flying out of town and flying back in. Spirit Air, baby.
Yeah, I had a very exciting experience on Spirit Airlines. We almost got stuck in Puerto Rico. But honestly, I can't think of a better place to be stuck because we went to a place called Guavate in Calle where they have this thing called the Ruta del Lechon. And all of these different restaurants have all of these delicious, all this delicious pork and all of this delicious chicken and then arroz con gandules. And they had yuca, guineito, and escabeche. It was so good. Everything was so good, Carlos. I think I'm never going to eat again.
That sounds like the St. James way, but with meat, with pork.
It was just amazing. And I don't think there's one bad restaurant on that little strip. We went to one called like El Original or something, which was cute because it had like a little patio out back where you could take your little lechon and just go crazy. And it was like, there was a little river in the back and it was beautiful with little picnic tables and stuff. But man, getting out of Puerto Rico was a challenge.
Well, I'm very
glad I made it home.
Spirit Air sucks. Other things that suck are our colleague Connie Ogle, who's drinking wine in the desert this week. She sucks.
Yeah, let's send her some bad juju.
Because we have to work and she gets to drink wine. That sucks.
Indeed.
Anyway, we're not going to fool around too much today because we have a guest doing some serious work, and I'm really excited to talk to her. Today's guest is Karla Hoyos. Karlas is going to be speaking to us from Poland on the border with Ukraine, and she's there helping to cook tens of thousands of meals a day for war refugees with José Andrés' nonprofit, World Central Kitchen. Now, Karla has a big Miami connection. She was the first woman and the first Latina head chef at South Beach's restaurant Bazaar, one of José Andrés'. And, that came with its own set of challenges, which I'm sure we'll talk to her about. But she's been working with World Central Kitchen almost exclusively, I believe, since she met José Andrés in Puerto Rico when they were feeding tens of thousands of people in the wake of Hurricane Maria. We have a whole separate interview with José Andrés in a previous episode, and you can dig down through the archives and read that because he was really fantastic. But since then, Karla's basically given her life over to this cause. So she travels all over the world with World Central Kitchen to places hit with unexpected crises and natural disasters, feeding people who suddenly don't know where their next meal is going to come from. So I want to talk to her about, what she's seeing firsthand in Poland from this world crisis. And I want to ask her what put her on this path, dating back to the start of her career in Mexico, which is where she's from. So welcome, Karla.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, no, it's great to have you. I know I've been following your work on Instagram, which is, I think, people that are smart. They're among your 14,000 smart followers. The stuff that you guys are doing, you're posting these amazing pictures of these unbelievable sizes of food, basically, these incredible quantities that you guys are doing. And it's really stunning to see.
Like that chicken stew that you were making, I think it had potatoes. How many people can one of those vats feed? Because it looks like the world's biggest paella cooker.
Yeah, they're actually designed specially for World Central Kitchen. We started cooking in paella pans in Puerto Rico, of course, because that's all we had and the easiest to just set up. But after that, it has been progressing. So the ones that we're using right now in Poland, they have been designed especially for World Central Kitchen. So on each paella pan, you can feed up to 2,800 portions of food. And we cook, normally 150 kilos of protein, like 80 kilos of vegetables, and then another 80 kilos of starch. And it's a lot.
Karla, we're American, so when you say kilos, I unless you're referring to bricks of cocaine, we're here in Miami. I don't know what you're talking about. You gotta give me pounds. You gotta give me.
I think the easiest way is to do it like if it's it's double. If you want to do pounds, just do by 2.
Because you're
So
like,
we're
we have 200 kilos of paella, man. And
this is the
people,
Miami version.
Yeah.
this is the Miami
Yes.
version.
No, it's because I'm used to kilos since I've been working. I mean, in the U.S., I've been in the U.S. for like the last 10 years. I'm used to pounds as well, but since now everything is back to kilos here, so that's why. But yeah, that's
So
it's a lot
where
of food.
exactly are
Let's
you right
say.
now? Where exactly are you
I
right now?
mean, it's the town. It's Przemyśl. I'm 6 kilometers away from the border. The border is called Medica. It's one of the biggest crossing points between Ukraine and Poland, and actually one of the most important ones. It has the biggest flow of refugees crossing by foot and by car and buses.
So
So give us an
how is
idea.
So
I'm sorry. How have things changed in the time that you've been here? You've been there for like a month now.
yeah, a month and a half. I got here. Yeah, the end of February. Yeah, March 1st.
Paint a picture
March
for us a
1st.
little bit about what you're seeing in that month. It's hard for us over here to imagine what you're seeing coming through the door, coming in where you're stationed every day. Paint a little bit of picture of the numbers of people and what the condition of folks are like and
So
things.
so when I just got here, it was pretty much the heat of the refugees crossing. We got into we got a warehouse handed to us, a warehouse with nothing in it. So our first thing to do was like just to design this kitchen from scratch and design it, make it happen. Get all the contractors and put it together. Uh, the first times at Medica, my first time, it was bad.
What do you mean it was
A
bad?
lot of people crossing by foot. I mean, I think for me that I'm used to doing disaster relief, and you come to a place, it's been destroyed by a hurricane, by an earthquake. You go there and you get a number. No, so many people have been affected. This is the amount of meals you have to do per day because this is what it is. On this case scenario, and you can always go better from there. The worst has happened. You're there to make it better or feed them while everything's getting better. And here is like, it's, I mean, when you're talking to people, and mostly women, um, they're crossing their border with the little child, the little children, and they've been walking for days. The women are bruised. Of course, you're not gonna ask them what happened, but they don't know where to go. They're cold. They're hungry. They're carrying all of their belongings. It's I don't know. I thought I've things you see in movies, and you never think you're gonna experience that. In as much as I say, you wanna help more, you wanna do more, and it was a lot of people, mostly women and children. Uh, of course, you're talking about Shemetz. It's a 60,000 people town where suddenly they were getting thousands of refugees in. Suddenly, I mean, it took a little time to get organized. It took a little time for nobody was expecting this. Nobody was ready for this. And of course, the first 2 weeks were chaos. There was no tents for people to warm. It was so cold, like extremely cold.
Like temperatures. Give us temperature. Either
Even
Fahrenheit or Celsius is fine, I guess.
I would say, no, no, no. I can't do Celsius now. I'm like a judge. I think it was like I think we were in the 30s Fahrenheit.
Wow. So really freezing temperatures, yeah.
And and you're talking people that are crossing at 2 a.m. also because crossing at night was safer for them. And it's when you see children cold and hungry crying for and then you're like, okay, they crossed, and what's next? And there was not a big plan of like for them. The refugee centers were packed. Right now, a lot of the refugee centers here in Poland, they're shopping malls that they
They repurposed.
transform into refugee centers. They repurpose, and you go in there and it's like bed, like it's not even a bed. How do you say?
A sleeping bag.
Like a little thing that you open and one like it's
Like a cot, like un pim
it's
pam
things I've
pum, as we would say, as the Cubans would say, like a
that one,
cot.
that one,
Es un
that
pim
one.
pam pum. See, she's from Miami, or she's been in
Uh,
Miami. You know,
yeah. But
how
yeah,
is it?
it's
This is a question, Amy, you had written down, and how is you have been responded usually to hurricanes and natural disasters and the pandemic. I know in DC you guys were feeding people. How is this different though? You guys are in a literally at the edge of a war zone there. What is that? How has that been different for you?
um completely different. I think also first of all is in, there's a lot of like we don't know. We're learning as we go. I've never done war. I don't know how to. Our numbers change every day. Um, the food items that we make changes every day. First, we started making stews, and then we went to the border, and then we realized that people cannot carry stews. People can barely carry their belongings. So then we needed to adjust and rethink the way that we were going to help them. They were cold, but they could not eat a stew. So we had to design the way that we're going to hand out the food. So maybe it was a cup that they could feel warm in their hands. And what can we give? Maybe chicken broth, because it's something that is, like good. We also like chicken broth or hot
And it's
chocolate.
drinkable.
And, and it's drinkable. They don't have to like have a fork and a knife to eat it. They want a spoon to eat it. So we were like adjusting as we went. Also, a piece, something sweet. These people have been working for days. These people don't have energies. What can we do? So we started baking. Uh, of course, it was not my plan to build a small bakery where we we do how many do we know? We do like maybe 10,000 portions of like either banana bread or bread pudding a day, and that's only a little part of the operation. Um, but that's what they wanted, so that's what we do. And we've been adapting to that. There's different meals that we do. One thing is border crossings. Another thing is the shelters where people normally spend 3 or 4 days while they decide or find a place to stay permanently. So it's very different. Border crossings is this kind of food. Shelters, then we start making more stews. We had to learn a lot about Ukrainian cuisine because I can give them, for me, rice and beans is comfort, arroz con pollo for me is comfort. Uh, but for them, it's something else, and it's about them. So then we get to study recipes, and we get to test recipes, and we need to make sure that what we give them it's something that is comforting. So it's been different for sure. Everything, the logistics, everything. But yeah,
So how many people are you helping when they cross the border like a day, or is there no real way to know?
uh, there's
Because
no
it's
real way
hard
to
to
know.
plan,
That's why
right?
it's so inconsistent. So we're calling the sites every 2 hours.
Wow.
So normally by 2 a.m., I get my message of what the meals that need to be done by 7:30 or 8 because we're feeding people 24 hours. So I normally start at 5:30. I'm done by 9:30, and then I wake up to that message. I normally will be like 3,000 meals by that time. The average 3 to 4,000 meals. So I kind of like have my prep ready and to get it out. And then every 2 hours we're calling. Sometimes they'll call us and be like, "Hey, there's a train that just arrived at the train station and it has 2,000 people. They need food now." So we need to be ready for that. And yeah, it's a lot. It's good, but it's different, and
How
yeah,
many
it's
people how many
the
people are working with
emotional,
you?
thing.
I'm sorry. How many people are working
We
with
have a
you?
lot of volunteers. We have the slots. We have around 30 slots for volunteers, and then I have one sous chef that I worked with when I did the pandemic in Spain, and a couple cooks that are working with me with us, and yeah, that's
Wow.
it. In the kitchen, we're 5 people.
Wow. So you're like 35 people feeding maybe 10,000 people a day. That's
We do,
that's
yeah,
unbelievable.
12,000, 12,000 and 12,000 plus 8,000 sandwiches a day, plus then 10,000 pieces of like either banana bread plus the hot chocolate. And we also started to make cold salads because it started to get a little warmer sometimes. So we make, the beet salad or potato Ukrainian salad, or we're learning with the salads. We're testing recipes that, that flavors that they like.
There's this incredible video that you posted to your Instagram, which is just chef, at Chef Karla Hoyos, Karla Hoyos Hoyos, and it's a time lapse of you guys making, what was it, like 10,000 sandwiches, and it's
Yes,
like it is
we're actually
unbelievable.
tomorrow we're making 10,000 sandwiches and we're raising $10,000 for World Central Kitchen. Normally we make 8,000, but yeah, and the sandwich line for World Central Kitchen is super important because talking with Chef Jose, and he said no, it's a way of people that really want to be a part of this and don't have a lot of knowledge on food or kitchen can be a part of, because it takes a lot of people to make 10,000 sandwiches. So anyone can make a sandwich. So, and it's also we make very good sandwiches. And it's a very, it's a meal that, I mean, it's weird that somebody doesn't like a sandwich.
Well, Jose,
What's on
Jose
your
Andres,
sandwiches?
what kind of
What's
sandwiches are you making,
on,
Karla?
to be honest, well, either ham, turkey, pepperoni, salami, what we can also source, because remember, we're in a 60,000 people town, and we wiped all of the ham, we wiped all of the turkey. We go around 1,000 pounds of 1,200 pounds. You see, I said it in pounds of, of sandwich meat a day, and the same with cheese. And so yeah, we make ham cheese, but normally it's like a 5 ounce sandwich, 5 ounce plus maybe 4 ounces of cheese and a lot of mayo. It has to have a lot of mayo. That's by Chef Jose, because that might be sometimes that sandwich, if it's the only meal somebody will have in a day, um, it also needs to be substantial and with the right amount of calories to get people through the day, if that's the only thing they have to eat.
Right, like pack in those calories. So tell me about tell me about what it's been like learning about that cuisine, because the one thing I've always noticed about these World Central Kitchen things is they show up, you guys show up and you make food that is comforting and accessible to the people who you're trying to help. You just don't show up with like, mac and cheese. American mac and cheese is like mac and cheese
Government
para todo
cheese,
mundo,
No.
peanut butter.
Yeah, like in Puerto Rico, I remember you guys made un pastelón, which is like think of a Latin
Yeah,
version of
that was
shepherd's
very
pie,
good.
Right.
So what did you have to learn about the cuisine in Ukraine, and what did you learn about like the kind of food that is comforting?
I mean, first of all, Google.
Google is your friend.
When they yeah, when they, because I got the, well, I saw Jose on Miami. We were on Saturday. There was a food and wine, I remember, right before I came in. He had asked me like, are you coming to Poland, are you coming to Ukraine? And I was like, you're here in the war in Ukraine. I was like, yeah, I'll let you know. Next thing I know, I get a text on Monday like, you're coming. I'm like, tomorrow you need to be here. And I was like, okay.
Karla, you
So
need to come to
that,
Ukraine. I need you here
yeah,
cooking. All of the things,
pretty
Karla.
much, pretty much. And so yeah, I was on a flight next day, and on my flight, searching recipes, learning, asking. We also worked with a lot of locals, so it's good. A lot of the people that volunteers are locals a lot. So every time we make something that we learn on Google, I give them to taste. Hey, can I add this? Of course, I always want to add something spicy, and I always want to add more salt. And they're like, no, no, Karla, it's okay, it's okay, okay. So, you adapt and you learn. Um, but yeah,
So so
that's how you.
what is the sazon of Ukraine? What is the like what are some of the things that you find that
You
you're
know
making a
what?
lot of?
A lot of garlic, a
Okay.
lot of onions, potatoes. They cannot get enough potatoes.
Oh, Amy
Like
likes that.
everything,
I like potatoes.
potatoes. Yeah, but a lot. Not a lot of
I respect
pasta.
that.
Uh, dill, parsley. beets, a lot of root vegetables. The borscht, that we've tried a lot of versions of. It's the soup that has cabbage, beets, potatoes. Some versions have pickles and horseradish on it. Some versions are just, cabbage, carrots, tomato, and potatoes. And actually, very good. I've learned different versions, and they love it. It's like very comforting for them, and it's good. We've learned a lot of stews, lamb, a lot of game meat. They eat as well. They love, yeah, everything pickled, a lot of sauerkraut. They call it kapusta, and yeah, I mean, definitely a different food that I'm used to eating slash cooking. But you learn.
What are these experiences like for you? Because you get to these places where I mean, there's nothing similar to the Russian language, the Ukrainian languages, to Slavic languages, to like Spanish or English, and you're dealing with volunteers. I imagine. What has it been like? Connecting with people, and you're learning about their food, and you're trying to cross cultural and language challenges. What has that been like specifically?
But of course, that sometimes when it can get not frustrating, but hard when you want to communicate, you want to say something. For me, actually, the most frustrating part has not been with volunteers, has been with people at the border that I'm trying to help. Because I think with volunteers, I don't know how to explain it. Like, we're just here for all of them, for one reason, and there's this synergy in everything. Even if you're making sandwiches, or I'm cooking, and there's a synergy of like they're just make it there's just make it happen, and it's very nice. And we have you have the phones. I speak in English. You'll tell them in either Ukrainian or Polish. um, but that is not it's not that hard. But for me, the hardest part, when I was at the border, the first days while we were building the kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
I used to go to the border like around 2, from like 11 to 2 a.m. That was the biggest traffic. And we bought the hot chocolate because we still didn't have, the kitchen installed. I say we built a kitchen from zero, from a warehouse, in 6 days.
Wow.
And it's a kitchen with a capacity to do 250,000 meals a day. So it's a big kitchen. I think it's the biggest that I've worked in since I've with World Central Kitchen. And when you're at the border and you see this mother crying, or this child cold, and all you can say is Coco, because and you can't, I don't know how to, like, that was for me the hardest, because I really want to tell them, or everything is going to be okay. Like, you want to comfort them. Of course, you're doing everything you can. You're giving them food. I remember this girl, I was like, is her mother going to be mad? I just literally hugged her.
Oh.
Like, I was just like, I couldn't, I just gave her a hug, and she started crying, and her whole
Pobrecita.
family had chocolate, I remember, and she was crying and crying, and her mother was like, and I just looked at her, and I was offered her chocolate, and she was like, no, and she kept crying, and I was like, no, I need to hug her. So I just went and hugged her, and after that, she took the chocolate.
Oh.
And it's just, that was, I think, that was the hardest for me, like I really wanted to give comfort. I wanted to tell them like everything, talk to them, and that was here in the kitchen is easier. It's there's synergy, in all the volunteers we're here. A lot of, most of the volunteers are American.
Really?
They're
That have
flying in
flown
here
over?
to help. Yeah, I'm telling you, like 95%.
That's really interesting, because I was going to
Yep.
ask you whether the volunteers were local, and if whether there was a language barrier. But you said
No,
so. Most people have
like,
flown in. That's incredible.
yeah, most of them. And it's amazing to see, to be honest, because it's normally, to get here, it's you have to fly to Krakow, and then you have to drive 3 hours, or you have to fly to Warsaw and drive 5 hours. And then this little town, it's so hard to get, a place to sleep, because again, everyone's, you know trying to stay here to help all of the organizations as well. So a lot of people are staying like an hour away, 40 minutes away, and they're coming in here helping. I mean, it's Yeah, a lot of 95% of our volunteers are American.
What when you try to talk to people, us on the outside, what is one thing that you try, or a couple things that you try to convey to people about what you're seeing and what people are going through? What do you want people to really understand about the reality of what you're seeing over there?
Um, that war is real
Yeah,
and it's happening, and there's a lot of people suffering, and the news don't make it justice. There's a lot, and yeah, there's a lot,
you mentioned. I've heard you
and yeah.
more than once. You mentioned women and children mostly because we've read the stories about men staying behind to fight. Um, and it sounds like it's been very hard for you to watch.
Oh man, it has. And you know, there's also another problem happening that I don't know, not a lot of people talk about, and it's happening a lot of in the shelters. Um, there's a lot of child trafficking.
Oh God.
Oh
So
Lord.
these women are vulnerable and they have their children, and yeah, there's a lot of, the first 2 weeks, there was a lot of children missing, a
That's
lot of women that
unbelievable.
lost their children. Yeah. So that's why, fortunately, when you go to the shelters, you have to have a special badge. They'll check your car, literally like with a light, and which is amazing. But the first 2 weeks, well, everything was getting settled. Like, yeah.
It's incredible to me that
So,
in the middle of this crisis there are people that are willing to commit such like beyond like go beyond and do such a heinous crime within this crime that these people are living inside of
Yeah,
already.
that's tragic.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine what that's been like for you to deal with that going on, and at the same time trying to cook and trying to feed people and trying to comfort people. I can't imagine.
I think, yeah, I think the good thing is like we're when you're doing these activations, you're in such a adrenaline rush all the time, all the time, all the time, and every day, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. That, and you're just trying to make it happen. For me, it's if I sit down 5 minutes to think, I can't. I can't. I have to like keep going, keep going. The hardest part is when they pull you out.
Yeah.
When they pull you out, and when you have to go back, and when you have to take a break, and you're like, but why do I have to take a break? I don't want to take a break. No, no, you have to, and then to decompress and to like being pulled out of like this bubble that you are, and you're just that's the hardest part. Um, but yeah, I mean, when I was my third day here, I it was the first time I called my mom and I told her I can't do this. I want to go home. Like I don't
Wow.
think I can do this. After being on the border 3 days and seeing all of these, I broke down. And it's not bad. It's just like we live in Miami. We're happy. We're good. We have you complain for stupid stuff, and then you're seeing all of these. It's so surreal. It's I've only seen this in movies before, and to leave it to there's this time we had to help this lady. She was crossing the border walking, and she was carrying her mother in a wheelchair, and she had a suitcase and her mother, and so she had to push her mother on the wheelchair, leave her there, come back, get the suitcase, then push her mother again, then come back for this. It was like, yeah, it's there's a lot, and then you go to the shelters and you see how the kids are living, and no children should go through that, and you see it.
What kind of things are you seeing? You said that you see how the kids are living. What do you mean?
I mean, it's you're talking about a shopping mall, and I'm not talking about American shopping mall. I'm talking like a one floor, like it's like I don't know, like a not very nice shopping mall, uh, with not even showers because you don't have showers in a shopping mall, and
Hmm. Hmm.
every single kind of like room or store is packed with like camastros. How do you say camastros in English?
Like like
What's the
cots,
word?
like fold out cots type of
Yeah,
thing.
yes, that's what they have.
Fold out cots, yeah.
And
So a shopping mall full of cots and
it's,
little kids in them.
yeah, but full, like next to each other.
Wow.
Like it's,
Packed shoulder to shoulder,
and that's where
basically,
they're
bed to
living.
bed.
And then you see that the only food they're eating is the food that we're providing. And then you see that just the eyes, the looks when you walk and you bring the food, like, or it's, we started to make baby food as well, for example, because so many mothers with children, and they didn't have food for the babies, they didn't have. And it's just the beginning, and you think, okay, I'm helping, I'm giving the food, but then what? Some people, a lot of what we're looking at, and when you're talking about the difference between when we arrived as right now, a lot of people don't have anywhere to stay. A lot of people, they needed to get out of the shelters. And so a lot now, the traffic in the border is people coming back because they couldn't find a safe place.
Wow.
Coming
In other
back
words,
to where? Coming back to Ukraine?
To
in other words,
Ukraine, yeah.
people went to Ukraine and then coming back to
No,
Poland.
people went to Poland and now they're crossing back to Ukraine because they can't find a safe place.
They're, yeah.
Yeah,
So, it's,
so this really has impacted you has affected you in a way that a lot of the other things that you had experienced doesn't really quite match.
it's, I, no. And how do you explain to the children that, how do you tell them that they have to leave their house? How do you tell them they have to leave their parents? How do you tell them that they have to, you know, to go where? Like I don't get it. I have, it's, and there, you make shit, like, you talk to these people, the ones that speak English, they've been walking for 2 days
Hmm.
with their children. For what? And then to go to a shelter, like, it's just when you, the way those eyes, it's just, it's different, of course. It's, then what are they
Yeah,
gonna
no,
go? What are
you
they gonna
you've
do?
been in experiences where it's nature that's ruined everything, and this is just man.
Yeah, this is a man. Like,
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Karla, will you tell us a little bit about how you got involved with World Central Kitchen? I know that it goes back to
Yeah,
meeting Jose Andres
I
in Puerto Rico, right?
I I was working for Bon Appetit. It's a food service company
Okay.
based actually in London, part of Compass Group that is based in London. I was regional corporate chef for the Midwest
Mm-hmm.
and living, and then the CEO of that company is very good friends with Jose. When Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico, Chef Jose had talked to him and said, tell him, send me your best 3 people. I need a kitchen that can feed this many people because I have restaurants, but my chefs don't know how to cook big quantities. So that's when they sent me to Puerto Rico to volunteer for a week. I
So
came
that's
into Puerto Rico
so that's
and
interesting. A lot of his chefs, because they're fine dining Jose Andres chefs, they're used to 200 covers a night of perfectly small
Of little
portions
tiny,
with
yeah,
little
things
tiny
with
portions.
tweezers, little
yeah,
microgreens chopped on top
yeah,
with tweezers, and now it's like cook for 10,000 people on a paella that
yes.
the size of a football field, basically.
So that's why, and so they sent me to Puerto Rico. I was supposed to be there for a week. Uh, and I just started to do my thing, like setting up the kitchen, organizing. I'm very systematic in the way I work. So after, in Puerto Rico, there was only one hotel open, so we will all stay in the hotel. We had meetings every night with Jose. And I remember the night that I was like, hey, chef, thank you so much for everything. I'm leaving. And he's like, you're leaving where? I'm like, I have a job in Indiana. He's like, he turns to me and he's like, you know what we're doing? We're feeding a whole island. And you are the head of that kitchen. I need you. Do you want to leave or do you want to be a part of this? I was like, I want to be a part of this, but I don't want to lose my job. He grabs his iPad and he opens his email and he's like, write an email to your CEO right now. Put whatever you want, but tell him that you need to stay, that I need you, that I'll, whatever. And so I was like, are you, I sent it and, they let me stay for, I led that kitchen and it was 3 months. Yeah, I was there for 3, 4 months and we were doing there 75,000 meals a day from one kitchen.
That's unbelievable.
Jesus
And
Christ.
yeah, I don't know
And
how,
so
but
he
we did
basically
it.
said here's my email. Send an email from me to your boss, telling him that this
Yeah,
is why I
that
need you
had
to stay.
that I've never met my boss before, by the way, because he's like the
Oh,
CEO
that's
of
so funny.
the company that I used to work for. And after that, I came back from Puerto Rico like in October, and then one of his corporate chefs for Bazaar, who was in Puerto Rico like for a week with me, and met me. He started emailing me, "Hey, um, can we see your resume? We would, want to see your resume." And
We were
I
like, I
love
just fed the
Miami,
whole island of Puerto
but before,
Rico.
no, but before, no, but before, like I was like anti Miami. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, no, that lifestyle, I don't like it.
Hmm.
He'll be like, but maybe you can come to Bazaar and check Bazaar out. And I was like, no, I don't like Miami. No, I'm happy in the Midwest. I love Indiana. I love my job. So it was not until like I think it was end of January or mid February or beginning of February that Jose called me and was like, are you gonna at least see it? Are you gonna come? I was like, okay. So I sent them my resume. They flew me to Miami that weekend. They flew me to Bazaar. Of course, I was like, wow, like wow, like I was impressed. I was there for 2 days, and yeah, they made me an offer, and I was like, okay, I can live in Miami for 2 years, and yeah, they called me and they're like, Jose is like, there's gonna be the Food and Wine Festival. Jose wants you here in a week.
Hmm.
So I, yeah, I packed my car with my books, my kitchen stuff, and I drove to Miami. And yeah, here I am, almost 4 years later.
And
So
that experience, you wrote a little bit about what it was like to work in Miami, to be the first woman who was the head of that kitchen, the first Latina, the first Latin person of any at all to be the head of that kitchen. What was that like? What did you learn from that, and just what was that experience like?
not gonna lie, it was not the easiest experience ever. Um, Bazaar was hard, challenging. I learned a lot. You're coming into a kitchen where always the leadership roles have been a very macho masculine image, where there's this old school style of leadership in the kitchen. Uh, and it's weird because Jose is not like that.
Hmm.
I don't know. He's really not like that. But it's Miami. You work with a lot of people. You adapt to whatever. And so yeah, it was hard. A lot of people, first of all, did not like the idea that I would be the chef there, and you
I
have to
meaning
know,
meaning a
you
meaning a
have this,
woman, meaning a Latina, that kind of thing. Is that what you mean?
and also someone that there's a lot of people that work with Jose for a long time, and they don't get as close to Jose as, but I had just been with him for
Hmm.
4 months feeding an island, and of course people that have working years with him, they're who is she? Who is she? Why is she taking this position that a lot of people wanted? Because it's I mean, I loved it. I learned so much, and Bazaar is amazing. I mean, but it's not World Central Kitchen, and so yeah, it's I had a lot of challenges. I learned a lot. I'm not gonna lie, the first 6 months there, I would go home and cry and be like, why did I come to Miami?
Oh my gosh.
Um, yeah, it was definitely hard. I mean, whoever knows me knows that.
Would you
But
do another would you do
uh,
another kitchen job in Miami? Do you think?
no,
So it was
I
that
am
formative.
opening my own place in Miami.
Oh, you are. Tell us about that.
Am I? Yeah. So I am gonna open. I mean, I have two locations. One of them is so confirmed. It's in downtown. Uh, it's it's very inspired by my grandma's cooking in Mexico. Very nothing fancy, very traditional. Like my grandma is from the south of Mexico, so it's different, but it's good. It's very good, and it's gonna be. I mean, of course, Mexican food and tacos, but and then yeah, that's I'm opening. I'm opening there, and I want to create a different way of running kitchens too.
Oh. What is the name of the
So I'm
restaurant,
trying.
and when is it opening, more or less? Do you hope?
Uh, we're shooting for July, August.
Wow.
Tacotomia. So it's gonna be yeah, tacos very small. We're gonna start small and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm very excited. Very
What is
inspired by my grandma. So
what is the name again?
Tacotomia.
taco, yes. But
Tacotomia.
yeah, but yeah, yeah. But so yeah, working in another kitchen, no, a restaurant. I mean, I love it. I think Miami has amazing restaurants, but I was I was very burned.
Yeah.
I mean, I did for years, which was good.
You did 4 years
And
with
you know,
Bazaar?
but Jose, mhm. But you know, but never from the Bazaar is in the is a partnership with the hotel, and it's I mean, my challenge never came from Jose's side.
Hmm.
I've always been
Well, it
been
sounds like
good with that.
you have a long history of being independent and working for yourself and wanting to, not being under, somebody telling you what you can and can't do. If you're willing to get on a plane and fly across halfway across the world, um,
Yeah,
you started. I read somewhere that you had a catering company at 20 years old in
I did.
Veracruz, right?
Yeah,
Veracruz,
and you
Mexico.
know what's horrible? That yeah, that it was going so well that I was like, because at 20 to 19 in Mexico, especially, I was living with my parents, not paying rent, not paying electricity, and then I was actually making a lot of money. I was like, no, this can't be my life. I don't want my life to be this.
Huh.
I can't be 20 and just made it. Like, no. So, I
This was too easy.
I
This was
can't.
too easy. I need to come to
I
Miami and
can't,
suffer a little bit.
like
Right, right. I need
no, like it's
some
crazy. Now that I
misogyny and
think
some
about it,
abuse.
I'm like, why somebody didn't like snap me? Be like, Karla, what's wrong with
I
you?
think that's
You
what
had
Jose
it
Andres
all.
came to your life to do.
Yeah, like I was like, no, this can't be this easy. I have to do something else. Like for me, it's like this can't be it. This can't be it. So that's when I actually went to Italy, and I was like trying to learn Italian, and then that's when I got the call to open the restaurant in Indiana, and I was like, okay, it's good. I go, and then everything happened after that, but yeah, and I was selling cakes to restaurants when I was 14, and I had to stop because my dad was like, no, you're liking money too much. You have to finish high school. You can't skip high school because you have to make cakes for restaurants. And, I only knew at 14, like 3 cakes, but they were very good. And, I used to sell it to restaurants. So
What kind
it
of
was,
cakes? What kind
I've
of cakes
always
are you
been,
selling?
no, it was like, stupid. It was like cheesecake. It was nothing special. It was 14, but it
14
was
though.
good.
That's
And
great.
of course, I was making like cheesecakes. I had like my special brownie recipe that they will serve on the restaurants with like ice cream, and of course, choco flan. Um, so because I wanted to be a pastry chef first, so I did all these sweets, and yeah, so I've always been very
Were your parents
yeah,
entrepreneurial
I like
background as well? Were your parents, did they have a
yeah.
strong, what were their backgrounds? Tell me about that a little bit.
My family in Mexico, they're wholesalers of alcohol spirits. They have liquor stores. So my family makes tequila, they make mezcal, they make brandy. My grandfather is a a very respected was uh, businessman. So yeah, my family working in business has been always in in my family. So they have liquor stores in Veracruz.
So you always had that desire to want to do your own thing, and it sounds like so when you now that you're looking at opening a restaurant here in Miami, and but you're also doing World Central Kitchen. Are you working for World Central Kitchen? Are you trying to balance both those things? What is that? What do you foresee being able to do there?
I work with them as right now. I mean, when they come here as a contractor, um, I could work with them if I wanted full time.
Uh huh. Jose,
But
is Jose Andres telling you, Karla, you cannot
Yeah, he's
open
gonna
your
do
own
that. Yeah,
restaurant. You have to help me here.
he's gonna get her back.
We
no,
need you. How's my Jose
I
Andres, by
love
the
World
way? Is
Central
it
Kitchen.
passable? Does my Jose Andres, does that communicate what he sounds
He's
like?
Don't
amazing.
encourage him,
Come
Karla. Don't
on.
He's
encourage him.
Come on.
amazing.
Encourage
No,
him.
he's
Encourage him a little
amazing.
bit.
Jose is amazing. He's such. Jose is amazing. I think he's for me being a Bazaar. I mean, all of it. You know, it's he truly is inspiring. And I'm not someone to tell you, oh, I admire, I don't like, but Jose really is. He really does care. He really does. I mean, it's good to work with someone like that, you know, that he's always thinking about how you can do more. He's always thinking about how you can help more, what's the best for the people. And you know, he's that person that you think you got it and you're like, oh, and then he's like, hey, but this. And you're like, I didn't think about that. You're right. You know, like, um, yeah, he's just, yeah, I would love to. I mean, I'm always going to be close to Jose and I'm always going to be close to our Central Kitchen. It's my family, you know, yeah, that's no, but I have to do my own thing too and
Of course,
follow
of
my
course,
dreams a little bit.
of course. So tell us a little
So,
bit more. You said you were opening two places. What's the other place and where is it?
um, I'm looking at another place like closer to Little Haiti.
Okay.
And that one I want to make it kind of like it's same Mexican concept, but not like as fast and casual. That would be kind of like a more brunchy place
Okay.
that I think Miami needs Mexican brunch.
I like it. I like it. Chilaquiles, right?
Some
So,
chilaquiles.
What
oh
else?
yeah, very
What
good
else? What
ones.
else? School us.
Everything, you know, like molletes, bombas, like more from the south. I wanna bring. I'm really more excited about showcasing the food that I grew up eating and honoring my grandmother. That is an amazing woman, strong woman, and that's what I'm more excited about. I can't do I love the fine dining. I did it. I love, but when you're cooking with the heart and you're cooking with, I mean, it's who I am, and I'm very excited to bring that to Miami.
And what's the name of that restaurant going to be?
I don't know yet.
Oh,
I
you
can
haven't
tell
you
you.
haven't figured out.
Oh,
Do
we
you
got
did
the
you already
exclusive.
do you already
I
have a
will
spot?
tell you. I will tell you.
All right, okay. Listen, we
Maybe.
like food here. We want to know places to go and
Oh,
eat
you will
delicious
know when
Mexican
time
food.
is right. When time is right, you will know. You will know. You will
So,
know.
Karla,
Definitely. I
when do
promise.
you get to take a break? When is your shift gonna
I think
end
at the
in
end
in
of this
Ukraine?
week, because I have to, what do I have this dinner in Mexico this weekend that I have to do with a chef, a chef that I admire a lot in Mexico, with Lalo Garcia from Maximo Bistrat.
Hmm.
And I'm doing a lunch in Xochimilco this Sunday, and then I'm gonna cook at the Formula One. So I'm gonna take a break to do that, and then literally right after I'm coming right back. They're making me take a break, so it's good.
Wow. They're making you take a break.
They're making you take a break.
I mean, is that kind of like to keep your
I
mind
might have,
sane?
yeah, I might have, like came into the office and just cried for 2 hours yesterday,
Yeah.
out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You need a
it's
break,
it's just
Karla.
a lot, it's
Yeah.
I might it's I don't know how to explain it. It's not the physical work. It's you see a lot. You see a lot, and as I say, for me, I just go, 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 go. I don't, not that you don't have empathy. Of course, you have empathy, but it hits you, and when it hits you, it's for me. Yesterday, I had a day where I was like, I just wanted to cry. I just wanted to cry, and I keep telling myself, Karla, get yourself together, Karla. But I couldn't. It was just it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. And now with the Russians going to the east, and it's it's a lot.
So you've
It's a lot.
basically been there for almost 2 months,
Yeah, a month and a half. Yeah, almost.
month and a half, and then you take a little break, and then you're gonna go back for.
Yeah.
Do you know how long your next tour of duty is gonna be? Your tour of cooking?
No,
No.
no.
How are you gonna open a restaurant when you're in halfway across the world?
No, I have an amazing no, I have a I mean I have an amazing partner, and we've talked about these, and I mean I'll come back when I have to, but right now I'm helping design a food truck
Wow.
that would has a capacity to do like around 30,000 meals a day, from top to bottom. Design it, and we're gonna move. I'm gonna go to Ukraine. I
Wow.
want to go to Ukraine.
That's your next goal.
We're gonna cook in that food truck. Yeah.
So
I
you're
didn't want
gonna
to when I came here, but now I want to go in and help.
so you're gonna create a food truck that will be in Ukraine that can cook up to thirty
It's
thousand
getting
meal a
it's
day.
getting it's getting built right now. So yeah, I designed the equipment, the everything. Tilt skillets. We have like how do you say, like a vapor, like a pressure cooker for
Hmm.
641 pounds capacity, 4 ovens, Passover ovens. I mean, it's amazing food truck, and we're gonna bring it into Ukraine,
That's
to
got to
the
be
areas where
you in the areas where tell us finish
where
that
it's
sentence
hard to
before.
get to your restaurants. In the areas where there's no nothing, like nothing, that you
It,
can't get electricity or you can't get anything because it's been completely destroyed.
is that scary a little bit to go into Ukraine? Because you said originally you didn't want to go into Ukraine, and now, but that's got to be scary.
It is, and it's my decision because when I talk to Jose, he's like, "No, no, you're good here." I'm like, "But I want to go." He's like, "Are you sure you want to go?" I was like, "Yeah, Jose, I want to go." Last time he was here, I talked to him. He's like, "Okay, but if you go with me." He's like, "Okay, but I want to go." He's like, "Are you sure?" Again, I was like, "Yeah." It's like, "Okay, it's your decision, but I don't want you to go." I was like, "But I am gonna go. I want to go." So yeah, that's my
So
next thing.
which parts of Ukraine would you take this truck, and how would you continue to source ingredients once you're in there?
We have a big warehouse in Ukraine that we've been sending a lot of food to since the beginning. Um, I don't know. I'm not sure about the areas that we're gonna go into, but we have resources there, and we're also working with a lot of local restaurants. And I mean, we have just in Ukraine, World Central Kitchen is making and giving 150,000 meals a day just out of Ukraine.
Wow, they're already doing that.
So, oh yeah, in Ukraine, yeah, we're doing in general in all of 250,000 meals a day. We're in Moldova, Hungary, Slovakia, Ukraine, and Poland, 5 different countries.
Wow.
All the
That's
border
incredible.
crossings is 43 border crossings from north to south.
So you feel like your mission is only getting started there. Like you're taking a break, you're taking a mental break, but then you're going back into
And I'm here.
yeah.
I'm here. I might as well just help more, and do more. And yeah, I'm already here, and I think this is if I have the opportunity to help, and I think I see, there's a lot of people that want to come, that want to be here, and they don't have that opportunity. I do have it, and so I'm gonna, do it as much as I can.
And you're perfectly suited for that job because you come from a catering background. You've always your mind has always been like a
Yeah,
good Latin how to feed a lot of people with whatever
yeah.
food you
How to
have
add
available.
water to the
There's no
stew.
limits on that. There's never a limit on that. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Well, Carla, we have been very blessed to have your time for you to tell us everything that you've seen and you were going through and the ways that you can help. Now, just to put things back onto a light note, whenever we have a guest, we ask them to play Kiss, Mary, Kill with a food. So we ask you to pick three kinds of food, or we pick three kinds of food, and you tell us which one you would kiss, which one you would marry, in other words, the one that you would stay with, and which one you would kill, which one you would have to get rid of. So you told us
Okay.
about some the cakes you were cooking as a
When you
kid
were
for the schools
14.
when you were 14, and you mentioned brownies.
Okay.
You mentioned brownies, flan, and cheesecake. So, of those three, which one do you kiss? Which one do you
Oh
like?
man.
Which one do you marry? And which one do you have to get rid of?
Definitely, I marry chocolate. Anything that has chocolate.
Wow. Okay.
Um, which one would I kiss? I think I have to get rid of one.
You have
Yep.
to get rid of one. That's the game.
You say?
That's the
That's the
game.
game. I don't make the rules. Hate the game, not the player.
Maybe the cheesecake. I'll get rid of the cheesecake. You can't get rid of the flan. Come on.
Yeah, you can't. You can't.
So you'll kiss the flan.
Come
You'll
on.
marry the brownies.
Yeah, I'll marry the
and you get rid of
brownie, yes,
the
and
cheesecake.
then the cheesecake. Yes, definitely.
I like it. I'm cool with those choices.
Yeah, me too. I'm on board with that too.
Karla, you're doing
Perfect.
incredible work there. Thank you for making the time. Please take care of your mental health, and we look forward to hearing more from you about your own restaurants here in Miami, and we hope to talk about more about that in the future.
Thank you so much for the invite.
Take care.
Take care.
You too. Bye.
Doing the
Wow.
Lord's work.
Are you ready? You need to take a nap after that, right? Like we
I'm
need to take
saying.
a Xanax after that.
For sure. She is out there doing the Lord's work.
And she has seen some things. You know,
She
you
has.
talk to her, and you can tell that the kinds of things that we're seeing there, we're not seeing in other disaster places. This is a man-made disaster, I think, and she's seeing things that are that none of us probably should. That kind of blew me away, hearing her talk about even the child trafficking. You know, like
Yeah.
people taking advantage of that
That's
scenario.
really sad.
Yeah, it's like the dregs of the dregs.
Yep. That's
But
really sad.
we'll keep an eye on her. Again, like her Instagram is great. It's at Chef Karla Hoyos, and you got to check it out because her videos, her photos are pretty fantastic. Amy, I don't know how to top that, so I think
Nope,
I think
that's
that's
a
a show. That's a show.
All right. Well, we'll be here next week.
We'll do it. Peace out.